Can a relationship work after cheating? That's a big question. So in today's podcast, Cece and I, we're going to go over some stuff. So stay tuned to find out.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode, y'all, of the Blissology Podcast. I'm your girl, Cece, and I'm joined by the one and only hubby.
What's up, everybody? This is Will, and welcome back. This is a weekly podcast. It comes out every Saturday. In this podcast, we talk about...
Y'all know what we talk about here on this podcast. We talk about love, relationship. You know what it is. So welcome back, and we're glad to have you here. So yes, as you guys know, before we get into the topic of the day, y'all, we want to go into our blissful moment. So, babe, what's your blissful moment?
We had a good week with the kids, especially Friday. We had a day completely devoted to, well, ourselves and the kids. So we went out as a family.
Yes.
Started pretty early in the morning, get our wellness screening done for our insurance.
Y'all gonna say on the vlog?
Yes, she vlogged it.
Sure did.
But yeah, it started, and then obviously we took the kids with us. We had breakfast. We haven't been to the park in a while. We got to the park. Really enjoyed the time as a family. I mean, for my vacation, I tend to do some work, and I did some work. So it's good that I took the time and just kind of hang out and chill.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It was fun. We had a good time.
It's always fun. You know, that's one thing I like about being on vacation and being with the family. You're not in a hurry. Mm-hmm. You kind of go at your own pace.
Right.
There's no rush to get to anything.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about freedom, this is true freedom, where you're not tied to the clock where you have to be there at a certain. No, you gotta go with the flow.
Go with the flow, y'all.
You know, this way you're stress free. You can. Hey, the kids wants this, so they want to do this. Let them be.
Right.
Just
right.
relax and chill. So yes,
right.
it was good.
It was fun. I got my hair braided.
I see that.
Y'all, I got my hair braided on Tuesday.
Yeah, it took 2 days.
It took not 2 days, just 5 or 6 hours.
It took a long time.
But to him and my parents, it felt like a whole year. But y'all know how it is when you get your hair braided. It takes some time, but I'm happy.
But they look good though. They do.
Thank you. Something different.
It's a different look.
Yes. My husband said it makes me look youthful. It makes me look like I'm 18 again.
It makes me want to do things.
Get your mind right. Get your mind right, sir. Okay? Get your mind right. Okay? It's what?
I'm not lying. It does make me want to do things.
Yeah. Come get your boy and tell him to get his mind right. Because what we're not about to do here is what he just said. Okay? So just because I got my braids on doesn't mean you're going to get your mind down where it's not supposed to be.
My mind's always been there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways, let's get into this topic before we get into this crazy conversation here, you guys. So what we're talking about here today, baby?
All right. So the topic of the day is, can a relationship work after cheating, after one of the partners decided to go out and do some stuff? So, the subject today, that's what we want to discuss. And it's something that many people can relate to. It's what happened after someone cheats in a relationship.
Yes. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff going on out there, right? There's some people is going to stay because of the kids and some probably not going to stay. But then cheating can really damage a relationship.
Oh, yes.
We know that for sure.
Oh, yes. It can damage it. And in many relationships just completely vanish.
Yes.
Due to a partner cheating.
Yes.
In fact, I don't know what I will do if you cheat.
I don't know what I would do if you cheat. Okay.
That's what we don't want to find out.
We don't want to find out. So we're not going to find out. But we find out for y'all. Okay. We have to do our own research because we don't know. We haven't been there. We don't know people.
Listen, I've known many people that actually had their marriages.
Yeah.
Completely went down the drain due to a partner doing something that they shouldn't have done.
I agree. Because the thing is, when you cheat, it's so hard for me to trust you again. It's so hard for me to like know that, hey, you going to the store. Are you really going to the store? Because when trust is like being taken away, it's gone.
Yeah.
Some people, of course, they do their best. They stay in and they do what they got to do. But when you think about it, it's not easy.
Oh, it's not easy. And relationship is built on trust.
Yes.
Where if I say I'm going to do this, you trust that I would do just this and nothing else.
Right.
But the moment that someone does something that they shouldn't have done, you lose that trust. And trust is something you built. It's a lot harder to build trust after you've lost it. Mm-hmm. Where if I had just met you, it may be a lot easier for me to trust you.
Right.
After getting to know you a little bit. But if I was with you and you did something, that's the hardest part. Is for me to reestablish that trust we have.
I agree.
Whenever I see you, I'm thinking, you're probably doing the same thing again.
I agree. And I truly feel like one thing that we've learned is that be open and honest. It is so important when it comes to, both partners. You need to share feelings and what you worry about and things that you want in your relationship, right?
Well, yes. I mean, when it comes to rebuilding a relationship after someone cheats, yes. You have to turn that relationship into an open book.
Right. Yeah.
Where everything is shared, everything is laid out, and everybody everybody needs to be as honest as they can be with each other and about everything as well.
One lie, you out.
Well, yes. Hey, listen.
One lie.
Again, as I mentioned earlier, rebuilding trust is hard. And if a partner cheat on one and you want to get back to like getting back in the relationship and to make things work, yes. That relationship need to be on an open and honest.
Like an open
about
table.
Everything.
Not a red table, an open table. Because once I know, my partner cheat, it's going to be hard for me, especially me, y'all. I'm a jealous person for my husband, my kids, my parents, and my brother.
She is.
Family member. If I know you, my brother-in-law, and I see you talking to a girl, I'm going to fight for my sister-in-law. I'm going to be like, hey, this is not going down. And for me, it's like when someone cheats, it's like a piece of my heart that you just slice a little bit.
Yeah.
However, there's people out there who are willing to work it out.
Well, yes. And working it out, and this is where, as you mentioned earlier, conversation is important.
Yeah.
Talking to each other, it's like building a foundation for understanding, for caring, and for getting better together.
Yes, I agree.
So it helps partners figure out why cheating happened and potentially find ways to fix things.
Yes, and the one thing my husband always say, when a man cheat, it's not just one person that decided to go cheat.
It always takes two people.
He always say this. It always takes two. And sometimes you're like, well, she came on to me and I try to say no. What do you mean you try to say no? First of all, you shouldn't be saying no try. You should be like, listen, I'm married, okay? And I'm happily married, or I'm happily, with my partner. Because, y'all, there's some snakes out there. You got to be careful.
Yeah, and people don't just go and cheat. Mm-hmm. There's always some kind of underlying reason. Maybe there's something in the relationship that's not being satisfied.
Yeah.
And they find it in that person.
Yeah.
So, but when you talk, if you're getting back to together, when you talk, you could potentially get down to the root cause as to why that happened.
Right.
And so you have to be very open, because if you open, you can openly share, you know what? This is what wasn't happening that caused me to have gone that way.
We're still wrong. I'm gonna be like, what's wrong with you? So let's get to some counseling.
Another thing that's important when it comes to rebuilding a relationship after someone cheat is being able to forgive.
Not here.
Hey, listen, that's easier said than done. Forgiving someone who cheated on you. I've never been cheated on. I don't intend to get cheated on. I don't know if I have it in me to be able to forgive, but I know that's important. Because the only way you'll be able to move forward is you need to be able to say, you know what? I'm not going to forget what happened.
Right.
but I understand, and I will find in my heart to forgive you.
And don't come and tell me the Bible says, God says forgive and forget. I'm going to tell you, you know what? I understand that at the same time. If it's not easy, it's just not easy.
It's not. But where forgiveness is very important, because when someone did something like this to you, you hold
grudges.
Hold some pretty heavy feeling. I'm talking about anger and feeling of bitterness and so forth.
Right.
And unless you are willing to forgive, you'll never let go of those feelings.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can rebuild a relationship if you're feeling that way about someone. So if you ever thought about going back after your partner cheated on you, you gotta take some courses on forgiving.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to work. Now, and again, being able to forgive is not only just for you.
Right.
It's a gift to your partner as well.
Right.
So you do it for both of you.
Yeah. And like I said before, a lot of us ladies, we know that
you can't forgive.
It's hard. In the back of my mind, I know when we say, yeah, we forgive you, you as a man gonna be like, all right, I'm cool. She forgive me. Now let's move on. For us, for some people, it may be hard to move on, because we could be together thinking about who you're looking at, or you go to work, what's going on at work, are you really at work? Because it's going to be a constant reminder of what your partner did, right? And imagine if you come home one day and you see a partner with another person, and it's like, yo, that's like heart attack right there. That can kill somebody. The man that you trust, that you said I do to, or the man that you dated, and come to find out that they have a side dish, a side plate, or something.
Yeah.
So yes, I understand forgiveness is important, and on top of that, it's going to take time to heal.
Yes.
It's not just I forgive you and we move on. It's going to be more like, yes, before I forgive you, let me go ahead and seek help and see what can help me move forward, or help us move forward, and be able to rebuild that trust again. As you mentioned earlier, babe, that trust is the foundation, and communication, how we're going to communicate again, and how I'm going to be able to trust everything that you said, right?
Yeah. And forgiving doesn't mean forgetting.
Right.
That's always going to be in the back of your head, but you have to learn to be able to release it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a healing process.
Yes. Create space in your heart so you can grow personally and release that hurt, because it's painful. And sometimes you may have to get help from a professional, because some of these things you can't go at it alone and try to fix it. And obviously, if someone cheated on you and you're willing to get back together, that means you believe there's something good in that relationship.
Yeah, that means you have faith in it. Yeah.
Yes. So getting help from a professional is important. Maybe a therapist, maybe a counselor.
Right. As you were talking, I'm thinking about, okay, if a partner happened to cheat on their spouse, either while they had a party, they got drunk, they didn't know what happened. Now I'm thinking, is this like an excuse? Is this like a good way for me to be like, you know what? He didn't know what's going on, so therefore things happened that night.
Well, there could be cases where if you're in a vulnerable position, someone could potentially violate you. That could happen.
A girl, but not a guy. Because y'all have fists and you guys know how to fight. You guys know how to protect yourself.
You could be drugged and someone take advantage of you. That could happen. Depends on the circle you hang out with, because that's something that can happen.
But is that something? Considered like?
There are places that I'm going to. Then my partner should be with me. So if someone drugged me and wanted to take advantage of me, then they'll be there to potentially steer me in the right direction. But there are cases where people could be taken advantage of.
Now I'm wondering, with our people back home who had multiple side, cheated on their spouse. Like I know my grandma had like 3 baby daddies.
I don't know about your people back home, but
your grandma probably had multiple people, like great grandparents from back home. The Caribbean people,
great grandparents, but the ones that I knew, my grandmother, no. She only had kids with one father.
And your granddad has
My
how many?
granddad?
Yeah.
Maybe he never claimed those kids, but I didn't know any. I didn't know any uncle or aunts that weren't. Now there were a couple of them that had different last name, but they were from the same mother.
I'm just saying, because sometimes you never. I'm thinking about the people back home. Like, see, like back home, the wife or the girlfriend has no choices but to stay in, or don't know that there's other kids that are like out there by your man, pretty much. So it's a whole different century. So I was just using
times
that as
are
an
different.
example. But nowadays, the Gen Zs, the Gen X, we don't really tolerate that. You know, you cheat, you gone.
Not
it.
always, and obviously not always. And this is what we say: there are relationships you may be in where it may be worth fighting.
So you're
to
talking about
reestablish that
because you
relationship.
invested so much time.
Not so much. You know, there are circumstances, there are events that may have taken place where something may have happened, but that doesn't mean you don't love this person.
Right.
And this is where, in some cases, some people may fight to rebuild that relationship. And that's what I was saying, that seeing a therapist is important. Because sometimes you may see your future with this person, but alone you can't make that happen. You may have to get assistance from someone who can guide you in the right direction, someone that can create a safe place for you to share your thoughts,
or
and kind of help you.
Or someone
who specialize in counseling couples, right. So, but it's very unfortunate that cheating does happen in relationship.
Listen,
and in many cases, it's the end of that relationship.
I agree. There was this famous actress. She was dating this basketball player. Was he basketball or football? I don't remember exactly.
I don't know those people.
And he cheated, of course. So she's lying. And she's famous. She's very pretty, beautiful, beautiful sister, right? And, of course, her husband or her fiance cheated with this girl, of course, one time, but because she was so hurt by this whole thing, she decided to just like end the relationship. End it. And everyone was saying that, why would you want to do that? These girls are like flings. They just, what do you call them again?
Goofies or something?
Yeah, they're just groupies. Like, you have a good man, you have a great relationship. To me, it's not great. If you go ahead and do something, first of all, I don't know.
Well, sometimes these ball players, when they're away for weeks and months, they have urges.
What are you trying to say? They don't have a choice. There's stuff out there that are available for that. I'm just saying. But what I was trying to say is they were like, listen, stick together. Get your money, girl, because he's making good money. Don't break what you had with a so-called good man, and now you have nothing. You have no man. You got us all over. And listen, it's her choice.
Yeah, and listen, some people have it in themselves where they can actually tolerate that and move forward.
Yes.
Beyond what had happened. Others can't, and a lot of it comes down to the individual.
Right.
There are certain things that I will not accept.
Yeah.
Call me what you want to call me. It's just not something that I would accept. But you'll find the next guy may be fine with it, or they may have some way to get over it.
Now, I understand if we are, taking things slow, we've been patient, we are seeking help, like you mentioned earlier, where we like, all right, you know what? We're still gonna be together. You're gonna sleep in the living room, or you're gonna sleep somewhere else, but not in the same room with me until I'm comfortable. Right. So I understand that being patient is really important.
Oh, yes. If you're going to work at rebuilding this, yes, you have to have patience.
Yep.
Don't expect that, this happens in a week, you're back to normal. But some people that may work, but I don't see
about that.
For someone who's got character and who really take things seriously, for them to rebuild this, it's going to take a little bit of time.
It takes time. For some people, it's going to take a whole year, okay? We're going to be like roommates, okay? I see you, you see me, and then we go about our business. So I'm just saying, it is a journey. And let me tell you this, we haven't been, and we know people who have been. It is a journey, and it's tough. I feel like it's tough for the ladies because they're the ones that suffer.
Yeah.
right? Because at the same time, it's important to give yourself and your partner time.
So it's important to be patient, give them time. And if it's something you really want to make work, it'll work in the end. So to answer the question that we asked earlier in the podcast, can a relationship work after a partner cheats? Yes, there are some cases it may work. It's going to take a lot of work for it to work. And the few things that, based on the research we conducted, that make it work is communication is important. You got to have very open communication with your partner. Everything needs to get laid out on the table. And obviously, both of you guys need to know something crazy did happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just want to add, it can work, yes, and takes time. At the same time, if you are seeking help, a therapist, make sure you don't really involve friends into it too, because sometimes friends can make you want to do the opposite, right? Friends can be like this, talk about, girl, he cheated on you. Why would you want to go back? Yada, yada, yada. So you have to follow what your therapist tell you to do. And of course, God, you pray about it and make sure you know that this is something that you're doing for you. Because we talk about how you got to be yourself. You got to love yourself. You got to know that who you are, because it's important. Yes, some people, it's going to work for some. It's not going to work for some, because some of us are very jealous and I'm not going to work it. I'm not going to be in it. I'm not going to be a part of this. I'm not saying me personally. I'm just saying in general. But yeah, so make sure that if friends and family members are involved and you really love your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend, whoever, make sure that you know that this is something you're doing because you want to do it. And of course, what the therapist and God tells you to do. So I just want to add that in there because, friends be talking. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So know who you get. Be cautious who you get advice or help from.
Hello. Okay.
Right. But it can work. It can work. One thing I say is if you're with someone and they're repeat offenders, meaning that it's been happening and you keep thinking that it'll work, you may want to sit back and take a look to see, what, does this person really want to be in a relationship?
Yeah.
Yes. If it happened once and you realize, what, it's worth fighting. It's worth putting all the effort, the communication, the therapist, the time, you're willing to commit all that to make it work, by all means do so.
Yeah.
However, if it happens 2 years ago, now it's happened again, and maybe it happened, then there's something else going on, and this may not quite be a relationship for you. Because believe me, those are things. When we're committed to someone, we involve at a level beyond the physical. There's a lot of emotions that's involved, and sometimes mentally we could be impacted when something like this happens, because those are things that will cause partners to start thinking, am I not good enough? Is it my problem? And that can develop into mental issues.
Yeah.
So don't take it lightly. It has very, very real life consequences to people. So if you're someone who's thinking about cheating, please don't. All right, if you're someone who's been cheated on, and you've found ways to work it out, we'd like to hear, because obviously this is something that it's a touchy subject.
Recommend.
Well, I don't recommend anyone cheating on anybody, but I understand that there may be cases where things could happen, because we're all human, and sometimes we can screw up. I intend not to ever screw up in this front, but people can screw up. So if you've experienced that and you find some ways that help you work through it, please definitely share that with us, because some of our viewers may be able to benefit from it. So if you find yourself in a situation where you've been cheated on and you want to make it work, make sure that you're trying to make it work for the right reasons, right? Money, probably not, right? However, if you're with someone, you're really connected,
or you have children,
and you could tell, or you have children. Even for children, sometimes depends on the ages of the children. You can still break up, because at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to sacrifice their life or their happiness because of their children, because there's ways to still have children and not be with that someone. So, but I'd say if you're gonna try to make things work, make sure you make it work for the right reason.
Yeah.
Again, money, I'm not sure if that's quite the reason, but if it makes sense for you, by all means, make sure that you have your reasons why you think you want to go through the process of reestablishing this relationship.
Yeah.
Because you say, they say once a cheater, always a cheater. They say that, but I don't believe in it.
It's true.
I think sometimes people run into some low moments in life and they
It
do
is
unusual
true.
things.
If they say it, it's true.
Again, if you're going to try to make yours work, by all means do so. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have to break a home, don't break it, especially if there are children involved. Because believe me, in this society that we're living in right now, it's important to have both parents in a home when children are involved.
Yeah.
So if you can find ways to make it work,
Make it work.
make it work.
Make it work.
But make it work for reasons that make sense to you.
That's right.
If you'd like to check out some of our other videos that talks about the different things that could make relationship work, we can have a link somewhere in the upper side of the screen. Just check it out. In this podcast, we try to say as much as we could about ways to make relationship works.
Yes.
Cece and I have been going at this for the last 13 years, and we intend to go at it.
together. Thank you.
Corrected.
We're teenagers.
18 together.
being
So,
teenagers.
so we want to share as much as we can.
And we have experience, so we know what we're talking about. And we do research here in the podcast. So I'm just saying.
That's what she said. So thank you very much for listening, everybody. We appreciate you, and we will see you next Saturday. Peace.